This video was sponsored by PowerCircle Clothing and Headbusters Food Company in association with Cookup Unlimited.
Cookup!
It's not a podcast.
Dennis here, back with another episode of This Is Not a Podcast. Y'all already know what the lick read. Make sure y'all like and subscribe and hit that notification button. It's greatly appreciated. Hey, you right there, you. Watch the videos to the end. So today, as you can see right now, I got my podcast set up. So we gonna give this channel a whole nother dynamic. You know, I kind of been prepping y'all for this, and I've been just kind of like slowly but surely just building my confidence up to do this. And today I got a pretty interesting conversation we gonna have. Now this episode may or may not be a little long-winded because we finna uncover a few things today. So you know, normally when you see our episodes, we usually, you know, you see a lot of cuts, a lot of different edits and special effects and all this. As you can see, I'm behind the green screen. It's gonna be a cool episode. I'm gonna just say that. I even brought my notes. This is how you know it's real. I brought my notes. This is the first of many episodes that we're gonna do like this, and this is a different format. And we finna take a stab at it. Normally, you know, I ain't streamed yet. Everybody been asking me why you don't go live or why you don't do this. Now, if y'all follow me on Facebook, you know I go live from time to time. I used to do it a lot, so we finna take a stab at it on YouTube. So this is what we're gonna do. But I know what we're gonna talk about. So yesterday, I was strolling on the internet, and I'm pretty sure y'all watched the YouTube Shorts. Some of y'all watched the TikTok. And y'all see these random reels that be on Instagram and all that. This particular reel that I saw was from Snoop Dogg. Somebody took an insert from this interview he did. He was speaking at some discussion panel. So the subject matter came up about streaming. We was talking about music streaming and how the artist is not getting paid their just due. We're not getting paid the money that we supposed to get paid, and how the format of streaming, the way it is today, is it doesn't really make sense to the artists and the people that's putting effort into this, the people that's making music and streaming music, and we're not getting not even a fraction, a half of a fraction of what we really supposed to get. And what he was saying was how he didn't understand how an artist could get millions and millions of views and they're not a millionaire, they're not making the money they're supposed to make. And his question was where the money at? Like where's the money going and where's the money? And I don't want to talk too much about it. I'm gonna let you watch the clip and I'm gonna watch it with y'all. So let's check it out real quick.
Streaming gotta get their shit together, cause I don't understand how the fuck you get paid off of that shit. Like, I mean, can somebody explain to me how you can get 1 billion streams and not get $1 million? Like, that shit don't make sense to me. Like, I don't know who the fuck running the streaming industry, if you in here or not, but nigga, you need to give us some information on how the fuck to track this money down. Cause 1 + 1 ain't adding up to 2. That shit don't add up, and I have to say it. Because that's the main gripe with a lot of us artists, is that we do major numbers with streams and this shit, but it don't add up to the money. Like, where the fuck is the money? When I first came out, my records would sell based off of physical. If you sold 1 million copies, that means if $9.99, $9 million, you get this percentage, that's what it is. So if I sell how many streams, how much money do I get? It's not being translated, and it's not working for the artist right now. And I just want to speak to that in the music industry. Like, that's fucked up. And we need to find a way to figure that out. The same way the writers are figuring out. The writers are striking because streaming, they can't get paid. Because when it's on the platform, it's not like in the box office. In the box office, if it does all these numbers, you may get an up. Oh, it did this many, here's another check. But on streaming, you got 300,000 hours that somebody watched your movie. Where's the money? And I know I'm going off a script right now, but fuck it. This is business.
All right, so as you can see, Snoop Dogg spitting on this one, right? I'm pretty sure y'all saw this reel before, but this is the subject of what this episode is going to be about today. And I'm just going to give you my take now. I'm not here to say I'm a industry expert, so to speak, but I think I know enough to know a little something about something, you know what I mean? You know, not just to give you a brief background, like I'm from the era where, you know, it wasn't no streaming, it wasn't no internet. You know, this is back when CDs and tapes is the only way you can promote your music, and you actually had to do hand-in-hand sales. You actually had to talk to the mom and pop stores, and those were your distributors. Those were your Spotify's, and those were ways we had to get out here. It wasn't no emails, it wasn't no none of that. You had to really move and shake. You had to travel, you had to get out here and talk to people. It had to be word of mouth. It had to be your promo game. You had to go buy flyers. You had to do pretty much everything was considered to be prehistoric these days, because nowadays you can do everything from the comforts of your own home, and that includes home studios, recording your music. You can save thousands of dollars on doing so, and a lot of people are starting to invest in equipment, recording their own, and take their talents outside of the studio, so to speak. And then it's also, you know, when you want that professional sound, if you're not up to par as far as that go, you go to the studio and you have to invest. You have to pay for studio time. You have to buy beats. You have to do this, do that. You have to pay for promo. You have to, you know, the list just goes on. And when it's all said and done, you have to do all of that first, and just to get it ready for distribution to whether you go through DistroKid, TuneCore, so forth and so forth. And from those distribution companies, it's also being distributed to all these different stores on the internet, such as Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music. You get the point. And so this is something you haven't heard before. You can do your due diligence as well, but this is the topic of what I'm here to talk about. And Snoop Dogg said something that I've been echoing for years, and not just myself, but everybody as well. You know, like, we don't really understand the format of what we're doing here, and we're spending all this money and getting so little back in return. Like, who's recouping all this money, and where's the money going to? Now, as you know, or you may not know, how does this work? For those of you newbies that's on the new, I know you, like, you know, we get caught up in a lore. If you're on the new, I'm gonna just say, if you've been doing this for a short amount of time, you often get caught up in the allure of just saying, hey man, my music is in stores everywhere. You know, it's no more Sam Goodies, it's no more Tower Records and all these different places from back in the day where you had to, you know, get your CD manufactured, and you had physical copies, and people would pay for physical copies of your music. Like, even like pre-internet, when they started doing streaming, so to speak, the first form of streaming was, you know, downloading music. You know what I mean? You know, this is after the LimeWire and the pirating, and they came up with this system via iTunes and so forth and so forth. CD Baby, you know, like all these different ones, like iTunes, CD Baby, and all these other different platforms where you can buy a record for less than 99 cents a song, $1 a song, $2 a song, whatever they charging or whatever. To this day, you still got that format, but why would you, as far as the consumer, why would you buy music when you can get it for free, when you can listen to it for free? You don't have to pirate anything anymore. You know, you're not going to the hood and checking out for the CD man no more. You're not, you know what I mean? Like, all that is over with now. Now you can just turn on your phone. If you got Wi-Fi or some form of internet, you got your internet data or whatever. However you consume music, whether it be one of those streaming platforms, whether it be YouTube, you can listen to everything for absolutely free. You know what I mean? Which is great, because this is a way for artists to get their music out there worldwide. This is the way we can literally record a song from our room and send it out to the world. Same thing with videos. If you talented enough to film, edit, produce your own videos, or even pay your homeboy to shoot your video, or even get some professional work done, regardless of whatever, it's much easier to get the product to the people via these distribution companies and everything like that. Now, how does this thing work? Where's this money going? Okay, what we do know, I can tell you what I do know. Okay, like, let's say Spotify, Apple Music, so forth, Amazon, it doesn't really matter. They make their money off premium subscriptions. Not only that, but they're getting possibly 30% of your revenue, even though they saying you keep 100% of what you put out. You own 100% of everything, but yet we get 30%. You know what I mean? And I have this rule that I've lived by since for years. This is before music and everything like that. Now, I learned this from an old head. And one of the old heads used to tell me all the time was, everybody's entitled to 30%. And I live by that to this day, because I even had people that offered me, artists, offered me a percentage of royalties, whether it be publishing, offered me a percentage of publishing just to do the dirty work, you know, as far as like signing them up, making sure they do the right things and do things properly. And in return, they offer me a percentage of their royalties. Now, I thought that was pretty bizarre. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not out here Suge Knighting people. What I'm saying is, like, some people just refuse to educate themselves, refuse to do something that you can do yourself. They don't want to do the work. So instead of doing the work, they rather you do the work, because, yeah, you know what to do. I don't want to go through all that. And a lot of times, a lot of these artists do that. We actually got that out here because they're looking to just get it and go. Just, you sign it up. I'm gonna pay you to sign me up to do this, that, and the third or whatever. And I just think that's crazy. So see, why would you pay somebody for something that you can do yourself? Now, a lot of people is not DIY people, or it's not that they're not knowledgeable. They don't want to be knowledgeable. So with that being said, moving back to the subject at hand, I got some numbers here. We got to do the numbers. Okay, so did you know that, and maybe y'all do know, for some of y'all that's looking at how much money you can make off of streams and all of this and that, we know that on paper, Apple Music, for example, is paying 1 cent a stream, a penny a stream. Doesn't sound like much, but let's do the numbers. Okay, well, let's say you do 1 million streams, and I used to think that was far-fetched, but I know some independent artists that cracked 1 million 1 times over. And what I could tell you is, and they could probably tell you better than I can because they're walking in their truth. Apple Music, for example, for every million streams, with the technicality, as they say, you're entitled to 10 grand. So if you do the math, 1 million streams at a penny a stream is $10,000. Whereas in other places, like let's say Tidal, it would take, we'll just say by the thousands. So in order to make $1,000, let's just say we gonna go short term. We ain't gonna even go million streams, but I'm just saying that just for the record, 10 grand on Apple Music and you get 1 million streams, will get you possibly 10 grand. So we're gonna say $1,000. We're gonna go by the thousands. So let's just do these numbers. Okay, Tidal. In order to make $1,000, you would have to get approximately 76,924 streams to make $1,000 on Tidal. As the numbers show, as the paper reads, on paper. These are not my words. Okay, let's go to YouTube Music. Now, it would take 125,000 streams to make $1,000 on YouTube Music. Moving along. I'm just gonna give you a couple. I'm not gonna run down all of them, but just the most important ones. Let's start. Okay, Amazon Music. It would take 250,000 streams to make $1,000. Sound like a lot, but if you're doing your due diligence, it may not be so bad at all. And let's talk about the number one go-to as far as outside of Apple Music. You hear a lot about Spotify. Everybody got a Spotify. So Spotify, it would take you 303,030 streams to make $1,000. Now I don't know about you, like if you are a person that's up and coming artist, that's a pretty hard climb. But then on the other hand, now this is where the overplay for the underlay come in at, right? Now that's a lot of streams. Now just think about this for a minute. Let's go back to modern time, or old times rather. And I was just telling my brother this, that it's not gonna happen, but I wish we can go back to the old times where you can sell an album $10, $9 a pop, and you sell 1 million albums. That's $10 million, as opposed to them same million streams you getting $10,000. You dig what I'm saying? Or song for song. Let's take it song for song per listen. That's a song, and that's something you can keep for $1. Now Spotify, 303,030 streams to get $1,000. Now imagine if you sold 303,030 copies of that same record that they're streaming, that you're only getting $1,000 for. That's $303,030 at $1 a stream. You know, like that's like that is ridiculous. Like, who is getting this money? Like, that's why I say the streaming, it doesn't really make sense. It's like to me, it's like a whole bunch of money on the table, and it's the overplay for the underlay. This is where it gets messy. Now, leading up to that, you probably done paid over $1,000 just to get those numbers. Why? Because they got playlist placements everywhere you look. Everybody is hustling. Everybody got some type of promo deal. Everybody got, and these are just regular Joe Schmoes. People that know how to manipulate numbers. People know how to, and I'm not here to bash nobody or call nobody out, but I'm just saying this is what it come down to, because the value of the music has went down dramatically. Now just think about this, and I'm talking to my artists. Now, you got, let's say your typical, I don't care what level you on, top tier, mid tier, low tier, no tier. We gotta pay for studio time. We gotta pay for promo. We gotta pay for visuals. We gotta pay for wardrobe. You know, you gotta do shows. You gotta work your campaign. Now, by the time you get through, and you may or may not realize it, but you're out of thousands of dollars just to make $1,000 on a stream. Now, I know what else. Now, this is for the other people. Like they would say, okay, man, I could make it work. I'm gonna get some streams here. That's 1,000 here, 1,000 there, 1,000 here. Them twos and fews add up, right? You gotta think about it. You're getting a fraction of 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 a fraction and so forth of what you're really supposed to be getting. Now just think about it. Studio time on average, and this is like low ball. Average, we would say $30, $35, some, you know, a little bit more, 40, 45, 75 to 100, and so forth. You're paying all this money depending on what you're looking for. Then that's not including mixing and mastering. That's not including, you might have to get some graphic art done. You might have to get all these little small intangibles done. And them twos and fews add up. So you got to ask yourself, like, okay, am I really getting $1,000 to make $1,000? To make a couple hundred, you'll be out of 1,000 or 2 before you're done doing an album. Nowadays, you know, a lot of people don't even do albums anymore. They do EPs. Some people single you to death. And I'm like, well, I was just thinking, like, I got a couple projects that I've been promoting. For example, I'm gonna use me as a testimony now. I've been doing music. I'm still sitting on music. And in music, it's like, okay, I got a project I've been waiting to put out for so long. I got a beat tape coming out right away. And I've been coming up with strategic ways of releasing this beat tape. You know, I even thought about other independent platforms such as Bandcamp. You know, in Bandcamp, you can actually sell your music. Some people even go as far as to building your own website and selling your music that way. Like, we have to do things like that. But realistically, we still have to work just as hard as trying to get streams up on these digital platforms. The same way, you have to build a fan base to really see who really supports you. We're living in a world, obviously, where it's numbers driven. Now, this is on topic, but off topic. But let's take Instagram, and I'm not going to even say no names. And I'm talking about from the biggest of the biggest celebrities to YouTubers to anybody with some form of celebrity, no matter what level they on. And sometimes they even looking to get some extra money on the side, so they'll charge the common man for promo rates just for them to post them on their platform, which is fine because business is business. But on the flip side, they don't really care about your music or nothing like that. They can care less because they trying to get theirs. So they looking at it like this. Them twos and fews add up. Now just remember, these are major artists now. Major artists is out here complaining about the same things that you hear Snoop Dogg is talking about. This is a businessman. This is somebody that most of us businessmen or inspiring businessmen and entrepreneurs look up to. This is one of those real ones, you know what I'm saying? And he all about his coin, obviously. I mean, I'm out here in Las Vegas now. I'm from Chicago, by the way, for those of you that don't know. Living here in Las Vegas, you know, you see the landscape is a little bit different. Now, if you're an artist, a full-time artist, you got to do shows. You got to do this. Some of y'all still paying for slots to get on some of these platforms. Y'all still have to pay to perform. You know what I'm saying? Just for the promoters to make their quota or get some extra money. So it's a lot of things in the game, and you doing all this in the name of somebody to stream your music for you to get to that show money. That's why show money means a lot to a lot of these artists these days. They have to do it, the hustle and bustle of what's going on. Show money used to be the extras. Now, show money to some folks is like a major stream of income for some people. Some people is not looking like all these musicians is looking to get out. They're doing a lot of other things, relying on other things outside of music just to make a living because they're not where they need to be, because they're not getting what they supposed to get. And I'm like, you know, that's just ridiculous that we have to do so much to receive so little. It's too much work. And even if you got a little bit of money, you gotta hire people to do this. You gotta hire people to do that. I have these conversations like on and off the camera all the time. We talking about all this stuff. It's like none of this stuff makes sense to me. Just like everybody was buying them NFTs, and it's like it's always one scam after another. Some of y'all still believe in that cryptocurrency stuff, and I get it. But man, I mean, all this got to do with numbers. Even when you talk to these celebrities, they charge for promo. They'll sit up here and tell you, man, to avoid working with you, they'll say, man, your numbers ain't up to par. Or they'll try to lowball you on something, or they trying to rob you. So how did we get to this point? The consumer are being robbed by the artists, by the content creators, by the influencers. They're being robbed to support them. And it's not a knock, but this is what it comes down to. This is why I could see it from both sides of the spectrum. We can't just point the finger at everybody and look at it as everybody trying to get over, everybody trying to survive, bro. And because of that, they're not getting what they supposed to get. I mean, some of us are fortunate enough to do this and that, but deep down, that's why you're seeing a lot of people starting to sell their music catalogs now. Something that you've been holding on forever, you see people selling their music catalogs now. Just recently, I seen recording artist Logic. He sold his catalog, 185 songs for 8 figures. Now, I know what y'all thinking, man, come up, but just think about that. Something we was taught to keep our masters. We was taught to sit on our masters and keep something for our kids, something that our kids could eat on for a nice big chunk of change. You know, for if you're fortunate enough, you probably could have made that money and still kept your masters. You know what I'm saying? But then there's some people that never even own their masters. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else is selling their masters. That's what the game used to be. But nowadays, it's like the whole layout, the whole format of this thing of ours is just, to me, it's like it's super whack right now. It's like everything and you know, everything has its pros and cons. Don't get me wrong. Now, it does have pros to it, and we all know the pros already, I believe, but the underlying issue is not being talked about enough, and we're trying to figure out a system. Everybody from all levels, all tiers is trying to figure it out. You got dudes out here faking it till they make it right now, especially like these, and I ain't gonna even say up and coming artists, but these so-called seasoned veterans is faking it till they make it. They think, you know, they try to convince the general public like, all right, man, I need this for a feature. Price is going up, and I'm calling cap on all that because they trying to survive. Don't sit up here and try to make yourself bigger than what you are. And a lot of times, you know, we live in an era where everybody's doing this, look at me. Hey, man, I'm doing this. I put my arm around a celebrity that I really don't know like that. No, you just taking a picture with somebody. You just happen to be in the building. That don't necessarily mean you got them on speed dial. And hell, that same celebrity probably like, man, I should charge you a fee for even putting your arm around me or just being in my presence. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff don't be talked about. I'm not here to air nobody out or expose nobody. I ain't nobody to expose. You know, I'm not certified to do that. It's not my business. But I'm just telling you what it is. I gotta keep it 200. Just like when it comes down to making music. Shouts out to Brandon Shot Me. You can follow him on Instagram at Brandon Shot Me. He's definitely very informative. He's very knowledgeable in what he does, man. He does a lot of different things. Just look him up, man. I'll be sitting up here talking on and on about it. But he said something that was so profound. I checked out one of his webinars before, and he said something that he got a few quotes that I wrote down that I thought was just super duper dope. And I'm gonna tell you the first one, but the second one definitely hit different. He says, success leaves clues. Think about that. Success leaves clues. In other words, you don't have to fake it till you make it. You just keep doing your thing. Why? Because success leaves clues. Now, I'm not saying it the way he said it. I'm saying it the way I said, how I received it. And here's the one I like the most. Make music for your brand, not your fans. I'm gonna say that again. Make music for your brand and not your fans. Why? I'm gonna tell you why. Just look at the landscape. Everything I've been talking about so far up until this point. Of course, everything is about the fans. Everything is about the subscriber. Everything is about the follower. Everything is about the consumer. Don't get me wrong. However, who are you really pleasing? Who is really supporting you? This is a fan, not supporters. It's a difference. A fan is somebody that go along with the status quo, which is, I don't have to pay you for your music. Fans could really care less about what you got going on based off the landscape of the music. I mean, do we really support you? Absolutely not. A fan really don't support you. I mean, they might like what you're doing. They might enjoy your music. They might even give you some feedback. But at the end of the day, they're not your supporters, though. That's why it's best to just make music for your brand. Why? Because if you make music for your brand, or whether, I don't care if you shoot movies, shoot videos, do it for the brand. You know what I'm saying? Not just for the money, but do it for the brand, not the fans. Because fans is just fans. They don't have to support you. They don't have to pay for nothing you give out. Even though you can have a million things for sale, but they ain't got to pay you because it's free. So when it comes to music, you got an album that dropped, you want people to buy it. I get that. We all want the support, yeah, because, you know, we want to recoup what we put into it. You know, this is business at the end of the day. That's why I say you make music for your brand, not the fans. The fans is going to go out here and listen to your music and move on. And they can listen to it as many times as they want, however they want, without spending a dime. You know what I mean? So whether it's Spotify is they want you to spend some money in terms of buying one of those premium subscriptions, just like everybody else. If you got an iPhone, we want you to jump on that Apple Music though and pay for that premium subscription so we can get our coin. Meanwhile, you're getting a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. They can listen to your music anytime they want, every hour on the hour. Yeah, you can get some streams, but you're not really making the money you're supposed to be making. However, making music for your brand though enables you to not only do what you want to do, but you can put your best foot forward in terms of putting your music in the right places. Put yourself in a position to where you can actually be successful in terms of monetizing, so to speak, as opposed to somebody giving you a fraction of what you're supposed to get. In other words, that's kind of like a form of slavery to me. That's almost worse than signing a contract. You better off signing a recording contract, a slave deal, and get more money than that up front. But in the end, we all losing at the end, regardless of whether you sign a deal or not. It's a loss if you going about it doing it that way. Like even with the major industries, and I don't want to expose no one, they no different than people on the come up. What people on the come up doing? You got people buying views, buying streams. They got bots and all the stuff that you hear about. They all doing it. You know what I mean? It depends on if you're on the top of the food chain, you can dictate the pace. But in reality, they're not getting what they just do. That's why, you know, you got the 360 deals. This is why everything is a domino effect with everything. So if we can't eat properly, then the artists suffer in the end. We suffer at the end, yet we are the manufacturers, but we suffer at the end and we're not getting the type of money that the manufacturer is supposed to get, because we can make music, endless music, producers, whatever it is that you do, whatever your role is in this thing, we can keep doing it. We have to come up with innovative ways to monetize, and that's just the way the game goes. And like, you gotta look at your expenses, look at your overhead. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't look at their overhead and realize how much money you're spending and why you don't recoup. Reason why a lot of people give up, tap out, or they go off and do other things, and still people have to force themselves to work a 9 to 5. You know, they can't make ends meet because of these things, because we're not getting paid properly. Now, I know people that have to resort to doing this and they don't want to work no 9 to 5, but they're going to do what they got to do because they got to pay their bills. They got to live, they got to feed their families, you know what I'm saying? And shouts out to everybody that's out here grinding, trying to feed their family, man. I'm here to tell y'all, like, it's no point in giving up and throwing in the towel. You still got to keep on going, but it's a lot of ways to skin a cat. It's not the only way to skin a cat. But at the same time, when you're taking this independent journey, you're going to have to work some. And yeah, it's going to cost, it take money to make money. That's in life. But at the end of the day, know what you're getting yourself into. You don't ever have to sign a deal, but know what you're getting yourself into. My thing is, like, for example, Bandcamp, let's just say, where you can set your own price, give it away for free, do what you want to do. You can dictate the pace. In order to make $1, you have to build that fan base up. You have to build those, and then in that fan base lies those supporters. So if you got 10,000 people on your line, right? The goal is to get all 10,000 people to support you. Turn those fans into supporters. Turn those fans into, to engage in what you're doing. Same thing with this YouTube universe. You know what I mean? You know, we all worrying about this algorithm and changing this algorithm, because nowadays we're living in a numbers-driven thing. Sometimes with this fame and this celebrity fame, anybody could be a celebrity overnight these days, and we all focusing on these numbers so much to the point where, because we trying to get to it, we really trying to get to it. Others is just drunk off the fame or trying to get to the fame. And sometimes I see a lot of people, famous or not, is self-destructive. And that's a whole nother subject. Whatever you can take from this video, I hope you can take some notes and soak up some of this game. Hopefully anything that I said today, hopefully what I said today could be useful for you tomorrow. I might have to coin that, man. I like that. So anyway, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification button. It's always appreciated. And as always, say it with me, keep God first, stay sucker free, and by all means get to the money. Peace and love, stay healthy, and I'm out this joint.